Now that we have built some basic measures, let's explore the concept of the tag a bit more inside of Flow and talk about how we can do some cleansing of data. Building a new metric, I'm going to drag this metric onto filler 1, and we will give this a water usage name. Back over to my packaging area, inside of filler 1, I have my product supply totalizer, my energy usage, and my water supply totalizer. Let's bring this water supply totalizer in. Give it a name, and take a look at the data. All right, so we can see our totalizer. I want to filter this data though. I don't want to just use all of the data. So that's where I'm going to use my product or my state tag. Let's first take a look at my product tag. In this case, I'll keep the product, but I'll take off the filler 01 designation. And if I bring this product and double click on it, go to the same period of time, I can see that in this time period I've been making a variety of products. Some of those time periods are at a 0. This could represent a period where we were setting up the line for the next product. It might just be a cleaning period. Either way, I'd like to keep this out of my total for water supply. I could, of course, just drag and drop the H2O supply onto one of my measures, and then I'd be able to total it by those periods. But I would like to eliminate the periods of 0 state. So let's start by dragging our supply onto the calculator again. Let's call this H2O supply cleansed. In the retrieval section, I would like to also bring the product tag in. I'm going to drop it on the calendar period, and now it's here as well. When water supply, or I should say when period is equal, or product is equal to 0, when that's the case, then I want to return null. Otherwise, I want to return the water supply. That's C#. Let's refresh it. I'll have to move out in my data to see those periods of 0. And now every time that the period was 0, we can see that I have removed it from my totalizer tag. Notice that I forgot something. The red disk over here should have indicated that to me. I should have seen that. But before I went to close, I did get a warning. And what does it say? Timeout, flag on the play. I know you're pre-programmed when you get a dialog box just to close it down. Pay attention to them in Flow, please. They're always helpful and useful. So I forgot to validate. There we go. Now that we've validated, all of the red disk go away, and when I close this now, I'm okay to do so. All right, now with this tag cleansed, I'm able to do my normal drag and drop, and here becomes my hourly, my shiftly, my daily, and let's go ahead and do, we'll do a weekly as well. Monthly, and we'll stop at monthly. I could also, if I want, do quarterly and yearly as well. All right, all of these need deployed. I want to make sure that I got my aggregate correct. I probably did not. Nope, I was leaving it on average. So let's bring that to counter. There we go. Backfill set to the first. And now that's deployed. If I take a look at my Shiftly, it is summing up off the hourly, just as we demonstrated last time. Okay, deploy all of these. And now I have my water usage, the raw data, the cleanse data, as well as the product that we are making during that water usage. All right, I'm going to build another rule. This time I'm going to show how we can do a different type of data cleansing. Let's just build a metric. We'll call it cleansing. And I'm going to just take a tag from my boiler over here represented by pressure. Let's take a look at this pressure. All right, if we go back a couple days, let's get a sense of the range of this pressure. I've got this peak here that came back at 1.49 for a very short period. I'm just going to assume that in my data that this is an outlier and I would not want this here. So obviously I could just drag this pressure tag. Let me rename it first. I could obviously just drag this down to the calculator, open it up, and say, hey, if it's less than 1.45, if that's the case, then write pressure. Otherwise, write null. Right? We've seen that work. If I go back to my point in time, there's where the 1.49 was, and now you can see there's no value there. But instead of doing that for that period of time, let's dig into it just a little bit closer. There we go. So now I'm at a smaller time interval. I can see exactly where it stopped at about 11:15 and then came back at 11:45. That's that period where I was over 1.45. Instead of nulling that, though, for that half hour, I'd like to insert what my average has been to date on that tag. So in order to do that, I will take my pressure and I will simply calculate a hourly. All right, so now I will take my hourly, I'll drop it, I'll get a shift to date, I'll drop my hourly again, I'll get a day to date. I don't need the shift to date. Let's go ahead and delete that. Great. And let's bring that day to date underneath of pressure. Now be careful, the day to date is going to, by default, take the sum of my hourlies. I don't want it to do that in this case. I want it to take the average. So I want it to recalculate the average based on my running day. That is what I want to insert. I'll go ahead and deploy that. And then I'm going to have a problem inserting that value into this tag-based calculation. Do you know why? Well, currently, this tag-based calculation is using tags, right? This is a measure. And so Flow wants me to stay consistent in my time period. When I'm doing calculations, if I'm doing tag calculations, I need to use the same tag. If I'm doing hourly calculations, I need to use hour interval measures. But don't worry, it's easy enough to convert this. All I need to do is drag the day-to-day hourly measure onto the tag icon, and then I get a transformation. Now I have pressure, day-to-day, transformed as a tag. That means I can take this and bring it right down and replace my null, validate, and then I will see this change to whatever that current daily average is. And there we go. And look, during this period, the daily average changed, and it's now been represented accordingly. Perfect. So now I have a cleansed calculation that I can then use to take and make the rest of my KPIs. Hourly, in this case, pressure. Deploy it. And what I'll have after the flow engine gets done is an average of every hour, the amount of pressure based on cleansed data. All right, I hope that was helpful for you. On our next video, we'll talk more about some of the things that you can do with measures, including projections.